You're listening to Good Morning Gwinnett, a division of Noise Media Network, hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney, sharing stories about people and places around beautiful Gwinnett County and beyond. Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Southern living at its best.
Good morning, all my Gwinnetians out there in Gwinnett land and all of you around the world listen to the sound of my voice. It is a beautiful day here in Gwinnett County, 73 degrees, going up to a high of 83 and no rain. Let me tell y'all something. When I tell you it poured down yesterday, it poured down. It rained cats and dogs. And it was crazy because I was on one side of town, one side of Lawrenceville, and it just poured down. When I came to the side where I live, it was trees that had fallen down. I'm like, what? So it was storming. It was raining on one side and storming on the other side. Like, we saw trees all over the place. Like, okay, seriously? Like, it rained that bad over here? So we had a mini storm. And then last night, I was laying in the bed late. It was late. I couldn't sleep again, y'all. I was laying in the bed. It was about 12 o'clock. And I was like, is that rain? It was pouring again. So I didn't get a chance to go outside and sit on the deck this morning because it was really wet. But anyway, it's a beautiful day. No rain in the forecast today, so we don't know. No rain. That could change any second. We're in Georgia. That could change. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about because we're in Georgia. All right, listen. Today is National Handshake Day. Now, here's the problem with that. Not a lot of folks are shaking hands. I went to a meeting on, I think it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday. I went to a meeting on Tuesday, and I went in, not thinking. Went in for a hug, and the lady gave me her elbow. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. It was crazy. Like, I went in for the hug, and she's like, And she gave me the elbow, and I was like, oh, that's right. I forgot. It was somebody that I knew. So I didn't really think about it. But she surely gave me the elbow. She's like, ain't no hugging. We ain't doing no hugging. So, but today is National Handshake Day. So even if you shake someone's hand, make sure to wash your hands. Wash them good. 20 seconds singing the birthday song. You know the deal. We've been doing this since March. Everybody should know the handshake thing. The hand washing thing. All right, I got a guest for you this morning. Listen here, I got a guest for you this morning. I wish we're going live video next month. Because, we launched the new TV network, Noise TV Network. So we're going to be doing live streaming and live video interviews. I might have to bring this young lady back on to do a live video interview with me next month. Because I know we're going to get some good information. That's going to be on Noise TV Network. We're already live on Amazon. I'm so excited. So Noise TV is Noise Media Network. So if you have an Amazon Fire Stick, go to Noise Media Network. We're already live. Now we're waiting for Apple to be done. Apple is always the last with everything because it's so complicated. So we're going to be on Apple TV, Roku, Android TV. A lot of people don't even know Android make TVs. Android is about to take over the world. Yeah, because most of the TVs that are built right now, a lot of people don't even know this, are built on the Android platform. Android has its own TV, so Android TV, Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku, and mobile apps. So we are live on Fire TV. Now we're waiting for the other three and the mobile apps to get done. So next month I'll be doing video interviews, so I'm excited about that. But anyway, my guest today is going to give us some great information about energy healing, loving yourself, all that good stuff, especially for us women, especially right now. Like, we take care of everybody else. We don't take care of ourselves. I'm not going to keep going. I'm going to let her tell you. But before I get to her, I got to do the horoscopes. Brought to you by Noted Astrologer Micah Thyssen for today, Thursday, June the 25th. And we're going to kick it off like we always do, and that is with Aries. If you haven't already, don't be afraid to start your own small business on the side. Okay, now y'all know how I feel about that one. Money can be made if you use your ingenuity. Don't let your emotions interfere with completing your chores. Listen here, Aries. If you haven't already, don't be afraid to start your own small business. Now, here's the thing, and I'm not going to say this to scare you. I'm going to say this because this is what you need to know. If you decide to start your own small business on the side, you have to be dedicated to the business in order for it to be successful. You have to put in the time. You have to make some sacrifices. You have to cut the telephone off, the TVs off, all of that stuff. Now, I'm not saying completely, but you got to give up some things to make this thing work. It's a lot of hard work. I've been doing this for 23 years. It's not easy, but I can't see myself doing anything else. So I thought I would just end with that, Aries, okay? Taurus, money-making opportunities will surface. Children may be less than honest with you. Don't reveal information that is personal or confidential. I always say, Taurus, if you don't want it out in the public, keep it to yourself. If you don't want folks to know your business, don't tell nobody. Because the minute you tell somebody, you run the risk of it getting out there. So keep it to yourself, especially if it's personal and confidential. I'm just saying. Think about how you can make some money. They're going to come up. Watch them. Don't just jump into anything. If it's quick, get quick rich, it's a scheme. No such thing. Had it been a such thing as how to get rich quick, I would have found it by now in 23 years. Have not found it yet. And have tried. Don't think I didn't. Gemini, be prepared to make changes to your personal documents. Sign up for courses or join fitness clubs. You may want to take a look at your direction in life. It's always good, Gemini, to take a look and see where you're going to make sure you're on the right path. And if you're not, make the adjustment and get on the right path. Back up, go reverse, turn around, make the left, get on the right path. I'm just saying. Cancer, you are exceptional at presenting your ideas. You may attract attention if you get out socially. You may find that your emotional partner will not be too eager to accommodate you. Listen, they don't want to accommodate you, go out, be social. They don't want to, if your partner don't want to accommodate you today, get on out, go out, be social, present some ideas to some folks. You never know what could happen from that. You never know. All right, Leo. You must not let others talk you into doing things that will probably limit you financially at a later date. You will be able to get your own way if you use your intellectual charm and know-how. Put aside any decisions concerning your position at work. Listen, if you think it's going to be critical and harm you at a later date, watch the money. Watch the money, Leo. Do it. And yeah, put aside your decisions concerning your position at work. You don't know. Right now, it's a little iffy when it comes to the job. So whatever you're trying to decide on, just wait a minute. Hit the brakes. Pause. It may not be the good time for that. Virgo. Avoid any petty ego confrontations that could lead to estrangement if you aren't careful. For now, just do the best you can. You need more space for the whole family. I don't know about Virgo. That sounds like Pisces right there, because y'all know I got a house full over here. We've been quarantined in since March, and we are still here. Yes. I don't know about you, Virgo, with the space. I need some space. I'm just saying. All right, listen, I'm going to go to a song. I'll be right back after this song to give you more of the horoscopes brought to you by Noted Astrologer Micah Thiason. You're listening to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. Stay tuned.
Time with you, honey, just to know that we'll grow old.
back. Welcome back. This is your girl, Audrey Bell Kearney, giving you the daily horoscopes brought to you by Noted Astrologer Micah Thiason, and we're going to pick it up with Libra. If you can make extra cash, it will be even better. Finish up any correspondence by early afternoon. So get busy because it's almost afternoon, guys. Take part in stimulating debates that will allow you to show off your intelligence. Okay, go ahead, Libra, show them what you got. Do your thing, baby. Do your thing. Scorpio, don't let your anger consume you, and don't allow important matters to go unattended. You may find that relationships are not going as well as you'd like. Dealing with foreigners may be enlightening. That sounds nice. It's always good when you can feel enlightened. Yes, if it's going to enlighten you, listen, I go to bed at night. I was listening to, oh God, what was the guy named last night? He's an Indian guy. He was really like deep though. Like I went to sleep feeling like a rock. I forgot his name. He's an older guy. It's something Guru. I forgot what it was. But my guest may know, but I'm not sure because I can't think of it. The last part of his name is Guru. That's all I can tell you. Anyway, Sagittarius, you may be sensitive concerning friends and their situations. Be sure that you have all the facts before you take action. You could be misinterpreted if you're not careful. Yeah, make sure you got all the facts. Before you take any action, make sure you got all the facts and you hear both sides of the story. Remember, there are two sides of every story and then there's the truth. So make sure you got all the facts. You done heard both sides of the stories before you take action. All right, Sagittarius? Otherwise, it will come back and bite you in your butt. Capricorn, you have to believe in yourself and your talents. You'll be dropping friends for no apparent reason. You need to concentrate on the areas where you can make a difference. Listen, believe in yourself. You have to do that. You have to do that, Capricorn. If you wait for people to believe in you, trust me, you might be waiting a long time. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your talents and your abilities, especially trying to make big things happen. Don't wait on other folks to believe in you. I know sometimes it's good to just know that somebody believes in you, but if you can't find that somebody, believe in yourself. Aquarius, you will be able to talk about emotional problems with your partner. You may find that coworkers will support your endeavors. You may have difficulties with in-laws or family members. All right, Aquarius. Now, I don't know if you're still quarantined in. I know most people have moved on, but you got to live with them folks. So if you got some problems with them, try to smooth them out, especially your in-laws, anybody. Especially if you got to live with them. Oof, yeah. I don't want to be in that spot. All right, and my fellow fish Pisces. Oh, Lord. This is not what I wanted to hear. This is not what I wanted to hear. Argument with relatives may lead to a split in the family. You'll find it difficult to control your emotions. It may be, listen, it might be best to work on your own if possible. Do your job out of your home today. I'm at home working, and listen, I'm not Michael. I'm not accepting that there's going to be any arguments in my family today. There ain't going to be no family splits. You know, I'm going to control my emotions. I'm claiming it all. Okay, stars, you're wrong about that. There will be no fish. You need to join me in claiming we will have no arguments today. There will be no family splits. And we will not be overly emotional in a bad way. Only in a good way. All right? All right, so that's all the horoscopes I got for you today. I'll be back again on Monday at 10 a.m. to bring you more of the horoscopes because you know today is my Friday. Today's my last day for work, guys. Well, not really. I never really stop, but today's my Friday. I'll be back on Monday at 10 a.m. to bring you more of the horoscopes brought to you by Noted Astrologer Micah Thiason. Now, let's get on to our guest. So, my guest today is an author. She's an intuitive, and we're going to find out what that is. She's an intuitive. She has a bachelor's in communications. She's a life coach, and she's a former Fred Pryor certified trainer. I'm happy to welcome Miss LaShawn McCray to the show. Welcome, LaShawn.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. How are you today?
Ooh, I'm good. You know, I had some computer problems earlier, but it's okay. I got it managed. Maybe that was my moment of emotion. Okay, maybe that was it because I was having a minute. I'm gonna nix all the rest of that stuff. But thank you so much for being here. You know, I'm always happy to have good people on the show who can talk about things that's gonna enlighten, inspire, educate, and empower my audience. And so you and I met a while back at Unity Church of Atlanta, and I remember, so this is what I loved about Unity, y'all. So Unity Church is this really, it's so calm and peaceful, and we would go there and we would get like energy healing. We would do meditations in the service, and I told Georgette, I said every time we would do the meditation in the service, I would fall asleep. I was at so much peace till I would fall asleep. It was crazy. I said, but anyway, I'm glad to have you on the show. I know you have a lot to share with us. I know your passion is working with women, but first, let people know a little bit about who you are, where you come from, and how you got into this space of enlightenment and energy healing and, loving who you are.
Okay. Well, my name is LaShawn McCray Redmond. I've been married for just a little over a year now. And I was born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio. I've lived in a few other states. I'm now centered in the city of Atlanta. And, my life has just really, it's evolved in ways that I never really thought that it would. I am experiencing, you talked a little bit, about what I do, but years ago, I worked in television production. I've also done personal training, which is something still very near and dear to my heart, because that was where I began to learn about the mind and the body connections. And then eventually it turned into me learning more about the soul and us really understanding that we are first and foremost spiritual beings who have human experiences. And, just one thing after another would just happen. So I can't really say a lot of this, especially when it comes to my spiritual path. I can't really say that it was planned, but it was just this beautiful unfolding of my higher self.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did you, so for people who don't know what an intuitive is, can you please explain what that is?
For me, and my definition of this is just someone that is really in tune with themselves, mm-hmm. and someone that is also connected to all being God, all being the universe, the planet, the people, everything on it, and just allowing myself to be in that space of accepting the pure love of everything that exists. And so as an intuitive, I do dream interpretation. And it's interesting because years ago, when I first realized that I could interpret dreams, my sister, we were on the phone, she starts telling me about this really weird dream that she had. And the interpretation just started dropping into my mind. Wow. Like it was literally as if somebody was just pouring it into my head, and I understood it with complete clarity. And it was just like, whoa. And so it kept happening. And I found it to be quite amazing that some of the people in my family, from my sister, her son, and my mother, they were always heavy dreamers. And so here it was, I was a dream interpreter. And it was just like, oh, wow, how fabulous is that? And then over time, I just slowly began to tell different people, and they would share their dreams with me. And then, I would go ahead and, interpret the dream for them. And so it was just like, wow. So it was just kind of like this gift that, I didn't even know that I had until I knew I had it, if that makes sense. And just different things, like I said, that have just happened throughout my life with, the healing, the gift of what some people would call discernment. Also, a lot of people would call it prophetic. Because I do get messages for people. So, that comes out as well. And like I say, the longer I live, the more my gifts grow, because it's amazing how I can be doing, let's say, an energy healing on someone. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden I will begin to get a message, or I will see certain visuals that's meant for me to share with the person. So, once you open yourself up completely and allow yourself to trust, because using your spiritual gifts, that is the key component, you must trust. You must be able to fully surrender and let go, because if you're unable to get yourself in that space, you're going to doubt everything that you see and hear. You're going to, rule it out as, I'm crazy, nobody's going to believe me, and then you shut yourself off. And that's pretty much what the majority of the population has done, because all of us have spiritual gifts. the majority of the people, unfortunately, though, they're not using them because, again, we're afraid that someone's going to call us crazy. And, well, how do you know that? And you're not supposed to be able to do that. So, a lot of that, unfortunately, happens. But the using of our gifts, I don't even have the words to explain just how beautiful it really is.
I know, and I know you probably told us this before, but I probably forgot because I was going to this church, and I had the weirdest. When I tell you that dream I had a couple of them, and I'm not a dreamer, but the first 2 or 3 years at the church, everything was great, but then I started having these really crazy dreams. I'm talking about like I was running for my life every time, and I was like, what in the world does this mean? And I knew right then I had to get out of that church because I felt like whatever was going on had to do with the church. And it was so crazy because the first lady of the church, she and I went to the same hair salon, and we had the same stylist. And the stylist said to her that her husband, who was a pastor, told her that I was going to be the first one to leave the church. Now, I wasn't even thinking about leaving the church at that time. And I said, well, why did she say that? Mm-hmm. She's like, I don't know. But when I tell you I was the first, and I had forgot she said it, I was the first one out doing that church, and it crumbled. The church just fell apart. But it was because I was having all of these crazy dreams. I'm talking about, I had a dream one time, LaShawn. It looked like my uncle and my aunt were moving here, and we went to go see this house. It was 2 houses. They were kind of like they were sitting like at a cul-de-sac almost, and both of them were empty. And so we went inside this house and to see the house, and I was like, yeah, I'm standing outside. And they was like, we're going to go in. And it was somebody in the basement of the house, and they were saying, come on in, come on down. And I was like, don't go in the basement. But what was crazy is on the wall, mm-hmm. all I saw was the number 3. Had no idea what that meant. It was 3s all over the wall. And I said to them, I'm not going in the basement. My dog went in the house with them. And the dog went and laid on a box in front of the window. And I stayed outside on the sidewalk like I'm not going in. These 3 women walked down the street. They had on like chiffon dresses, and they were singing. And they were like chiffon dresses. They were all matching. And they were like a turquoise blue. When I tell you that was the weirdest dream I ever had, I'm never going to forget it. And I was like, what the freak does that mean? Like, I didn't know what it meant. It was crazy. And I would have these dreams, and I stopped having them. I stopped having those dreams when I left that church. And I was like, it had something to do with the church. And one of my friends said, well, tell the pastor. I was like, nah, I'm not telling the pastor because, it could have something to do with him. It was crazy. I wish I had known this so you could have interpreted that with me. Because, girl, when I tell you, it was like
right.
crazy.
And you could have brought it to my attention.
Yeah.
And, and it's interesting because there are so many different types of dreams because some of them are actually telling you about something that's actually going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then many of them are just an expression of what you're feeling in your everyday life. Mm. And so you're having these dreams so that when you wake up, you can begin to make decisions, mm-hmm. Depending on what you saw in the dream. If you like what you saw in the dream, then you go in that direction. If you don't like it, you move in an opposite direction. And then sometimes it's just about learning how to deal with your emotions and your mindset. Right. And just working through those things. And so again, it just depends on, the particular dream and everything else. And that's why I always tell people, when you have a dream, the moment you wake up, write down as many details as you can. The colors, anything that you saw, how you felt when you were in a dream. Be as descriptive as possible, because the more you can tell me with more clarity and certainty, I can interpret the dream. So we may have to talk about that dream too at another time.
Yeah, because that dream was crazy.
But yeah,
let me tell you this: I had another dream. I had another one recently. Now this one right here was, when I tell you, it was freaky. So I had another dream recently. My wedding anniversary was June 7th. This is the freakiest thing, LaShawn. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's even more freakier. My wedding anniversary was June the 7th. A couple of days before the anniversary, I had a dream about the best man that was in my wedding. He recently passed away from COVID, from the coronavirus. I had a dream about him a couple of days, like literally probably 3 days before the anniversary. He was our best man. And I told my husband, I said, man, I had this dream about Bruce. I said, and I'm like, why did I dream about Bruce? I said, I had a dream about Bruce. And he said, what was a dream about? I said, looked like you and he was sitting on the side of the house talking. And I walked, he had a nice haircut. It was like a fade haircut. And I walked up and he had his back to me, and he turned around, he spoke, he said, hey. And I was like, hey. And my husband was he put up 5 fingers, and I didn't know what he was talking about, but Bruce kind of kept his back turned to me a little bit. And he wouldn't let me see what he had in his hand. And I was trying to see, but he wouldn't let me see. It was kind of like, kind of keeping his back turned. And my husband put up 5 fingers. So they kept talking. So then Bruce got up to leave, and he said, yeah, man, I'm going to give you that every week. And he's like, my husband was like, oh, okay. And so Bruce left, and he said bye, and I said bye. And so when he left, my husband said, yeah, he gave me $500 to hold for him, to keep from him. He said he's going to give it to me every week to hold for him. And I was like, oh, cool. Now, LaShawn, I'm not a lottery player. Not at all. I played the lottery, don't know what I did with the tickets, right? Something said to me, go play the lottery and play 500. And I don't play the lottery. I spent $21, which I don't do. No, I didn't spend 21 because I paid for 5 days. I played for 5 days, the number 500 in the lottery. I played it for evening, nights, and midday. Played the number. On our anniversary, I'm laying in the bed, knocked out sleep. My husband said, oi. I said, huh? He said, you hit the lottery. I thought he was playing. He said, you hit the lottery. I said, I did. He said, yeah. I said, stop playing. He's like, no, you hit the lottery for real. You played that 500? I said, yeah. He said, you won. I said, for real? He said, yeah. Then I had to think. So here I am with LaShawn thinking, what the heck did I do with the ticket? Because I honestly did not know what the ticket was. And I said to him, oh, man, I don't know what I did with that ticket. Now, my husband loves the lottery. It's an addiction for him almost. And I said, I don't know what the ticket at. He was like, oh, my God. And I said, well, how much did I win? He said, I think he said $200. I was like, for real? He's like, yeah. So needless to say, when we came off our trip for the anniversary, I was like, I have got to go home and find the ticket. So when I came home, all I did, LaShawn, was go and had to backtrack what the heck I did with that ticket. And I found it was hilarious, though. And I was like, oh, my God, that was so freaky to me because that never happens like that. And I was like, he told me, he said 500. I played it. It came out straight, just like that 500. And I was like, wow.
Well, and there you go. And so whether you realize it or not, your spiritual gifts are actually beginning to develop, and you're one that has dreams, and you're going to get more messages through your dreams. Wow. So when you get that impulse after you have a dream to go do this, to go do that, even if it's something that you've never done before, do it. Yeah. Especially if it's something that you've never done before. Make sure that you go and do it and you follow it exactly the way that it comes to you, because there's always a blessing in that. And so, so that's just going to show, the different things that you're going to see. And I'm even picking up for you right now that over time, you are going to begin, because you said, well, I'm not really a dreamer. You're getting ready to go into a season where you're going to be having lots of dreams. They are going to be very visual and very vivid dreams. Some of them are going to be like the one with the money, and then some of them are going to be a little bit more like the first dream that you were talking about. So just know that, you have a lot of meaningful dreams that are coming, and they're also going to be where you're seeing yourself in a different light, because you are evolving and you're being elevated to a different level. So just be aware that this is going to start to happen to you, even certain things so far as you being able to feel certain things. There's just a lot that's there. There's a lot that's there. So you and I are going to be talking.
And it's so crazy.
I can tell you that right now.
Okay, and I accept that, because I've been doing there are a lot of people out there who want to get to a high, and it's so weird because I met a guy, and he's really on another level. He's so high, he kind of freaks us out. But I met him probably 2 years ago, and the energy between us was crazy. And I was like, I had never felt anything like that. It was freaky. Like I told you, oh my God, the energy with this guy. Like, what is that? Because I had never felt that before. And every time I was around him, it was just like, it was like a pulling energy. And I was like, but he talks about being one with the universe. And he talks about the higher power. And he talks about, God, what is he always talking about? Is it like pure, oh God, LaShawn, I want to ask you about that. What is it? It's pure something. But he talks about that all the time. It's like being conscious, like pure consciousness. I think that's what he talks about. What is that, and how do people get to like this state where they want to be? You know, they can feel the energy, they see the energy, they are the energy. Like, cause I've been doing a lot of work on myself, and because I feel like I'm trying to get to a place of peace, like real peace in my life. Like, I've been an entrepreneur for so long, and I feel like throughout that time it's just been turbulent because it has been, and I was like, man, I just want to get to peace right now. I want to get to a place of peace and love and relaxation where I could just breathe. But I met him, and he was always talking about pure consciousness. What is that?
Well, a place of pure, and there's a lot of different terminology out there that's used. But what I'm getting of what he was talking about was just that place of really letting go, allowing, and knowing who you are. And see, again, when I had mentioned the comment earlier on the show about understanding that you are a spiritual being having human experiences, at first you have to come into an acceptance with that, because most people just see themselves, well, I'm only human. I'm only human. And I'm like, no, that is not the truth about you. You are first and foremost a spiritual being. You were created in the image and likeness of God. And so until we really believe that, getting to that space of pure consciousness doesn't happen, because you don't even recognize who it is and what it is that you are. And so it's about accepting that and embracing it, getting excited about it, and not looking at it as, oh, I'm weird or I'm strange or people aren't going to, you have to really just let all of that go and get to a place where you don't care what other people think and how they feel about it, because you know who you are. And a lot of this also comes with a lot of deprogramming. Because we have so much programming that runs through us that we've been taught from parents and religious leaders and everybody. And a lot of what we have been taught is that God is outside of us and not inside of us. That there's this person in the sky that's watching everything you do, and it's just, and that person, or that entity is doing nothing but condemning you and watching everything you do, and you better be good, and don't sin, and don't do this, and we see you, and all of that. And so when you have all of that pressure, you begin to see God more and more again as something outside of you, instead of seeing God as something that is inside of you. And if we want to get really, really real with it, going even deeper and recognizing the fact that we are God. People always pass over the scripture when Jesus asked them, he said, do not the scriptures say that ye are God? And so every last single one of us, but it's so hard for many of us to really receive that. Our parents are human beings, and we have no problem with looking at ourselves as human beings. So when we go to the higher level and we say, well, God made us in God's image and likeness, then why don't we see ourselves as a spiritual being?
Wow.
Why don't we see ourselves that way? And so, when we talk about this pure place of consciousness, again, there is so much programming that needs to be erased, that needs to be gotten rid of. And so, it's a path that it doesn't have time, attached to it. It's every person and their level of willingness to let go of anything that's blocking that path and to receive all of who they really are.
Wow.
And most people just, and there's a willingness, you have to, and there's a certain amount of courage that we need to take, because it is going to be different. The conversations that you can have with your friends, and, well, who do I have in my circle that I can have these type of conversations with? But it's amazing, because the more you open yourself up, all of a sudden you begin to attract different people into your life. And so it's just like, oh, so the gentleman that taught you about the pure consciousness, me. And if you look around, you'll find other people that also have this same level of understanding. Okay. One of my favorite scriptures to the Bible is, according to your faith, so it is. Be it unto you. So what is your faith? What does your faith say? And one of the things that a belief that I had adopted years ago was that if your beliefs don't serve you, don't serve them. And so there were a lot of things that I was taught that did not serve me. Me having this belief that God was always upset with me and I could never do anything right. Well, how do we sit here and say, the kingdom of God is within us? How do we listen to a scripture where Jesus said, the works that I do, even greater works than these, you can do? Well, how do I ever get to that if I believe that everything I say, think, and do is wrong? How do I do that? And how do I do that if I don't believe that some of what Jesus is, at least some of it, that I am as well? And so, again, there's just all these different belief patterns and thoughts that we have been taught over the years that are actually kind of, they go in the opposite direction. They contradict our greatest self. And so, we need to really think about that. And I'm going to throw this in there as well for people to remember. If you really go back and study, which most people don't do, they just listen to the person, whoever is standing up in the pulpit. But if you really go back and study religion, and really get to the root of it, really just go back on your own and start researching, what you're going to find is that most of the religions that are out there are based on control. Because if we can control, and they know if they can control what you think, they can control what you do. And so I didn't want to be controlled. I wanted to be loved. And I just couldn't believe. I was just like, you know what? If I'm going to believe that God is this all-existent being and God knows the beginning from the end, then God already knew every mistake that every last single one of us was ever going to make, and God still chose to make us.
Wow.
So what was the point of all that? These are the thoughts that would go through my mind, and I was like, these beliefs aren't serving me, so I'm going to start deleting these beliefs. And that's exactly what I did, one by one. I was just like, why do I believe that?
Wow.
On one hand, God is love, but then, God is jealous and all this. And I'm like, well, why is God jealous? And why can God be angry? But yet the Bible also tells me that we have to forgive other people 70 times 7.
Wow.
So I have to do this, but the all-powerful one is still getting angry and upset over stuff that was always known was going to happen?
Wow.
Okay. And so my entire God concept had to shift in order for me to really sink into who I am. And I think that's why it's so much easier for people who grew up pretty much with no religious background to actually walk it out and live up to their highest spiritual potential, because they don't have all of this older programming to overcome. And so it makes it a little bit easier for them. To just accept it, and whatever it is that they see. And, a lot of people having this belief that, if someone has died, that you can't hear from them and you can't communicate with them. Well, if we're all spirits and we're always spiritual, then why wouldn't we be able to communicate with them? And I know that we can, and I know that it can happen in a positive way, because at times when I'm doing readings and different things for people, some of their loved ones will come through and say something to me. And I'll say it to them, and it's something that I couldn't possibly know, because this person isn't even walking the face of the planet anymore. So how am I able to say something to you that your mother used to say to you, or your grandfather, or some other loved one that you have? And not seeing it as something as bad or evil, but looking at it as something that helps them heal, because that's the only thing that ever comes through. Because once people leave this physical plane that we are on, this planet Earth, all they're doing is they just transform. And, and that's even one of the laws of physics, that matter cannot be created nor destroyed, but it just changes form. And so knowing this, when you add it all up, because everybody thinks that science and, and spiritual beliefs is different from religion, but when it comes to spiritual beliefs, science proves our spirituality more than a lot of people realize. And so knowing that all we're doing is transitioning, we're just transforming. Once they're in that place of no longer being in their physical bodies, they have this broader perspective. So they're looking at life completely differently than they did when they were here. All the struggles, the pains, they see it all, and they understand it on such a high level that they don't see the problems that we see as problems. You know, all of that, gets wiped away. And so it's just this, again, this beautiful thing when somebody's mom can come in and say, hey, sweetheart, you're doing a great job. I love you. Just certain things like that. And it just makes all the difference in the world for those people. And what does it help them do? It helps them heal. And because I'm open to that, and because I have that understanding, I'm able to be a much better intuitive for anyone that comes to me for those services. So again, whether I'm doing the energy healing, the dream interpretation, it really all kinds of gets blended together, because I'm going to give you whatever my spirit gives me, whatever that is. Even if you just come to me and say, LaShawn, I just need a dream interpretation. Okay, Audrey, I can do that for you. But if I begin to get some other stuff for you, I'm giving you whatever I get. Whatever it is that's flowing through me, you're going to get all of it, because that's what you need. And sometimes, you don't even know what's coming, but, all of that information is important. And so I'm going to give you all of that.
LaShawn, it's so funny as you sit here and talk, and I'm always intrigued by all this stuff, right? But part of me always felt like it was against God. Like, you hear people say, oh my God, like even my pastor, the pastor that I used to sit under, if I had his birthday is somewhere now, because he's a Cancer. I think it's next month. And I was like, oh, you're a Cancer? He's like, I'm not a Cancer. Why would you say that? Cancer is a disease. The horoscopes are evil. And I was like, so in my mind, I'm thinking that's not true. Horoscopes are based on the stars and signs and all this stuff. So, I would hear people say that. So I wouldn't even, like right now, my mom bought me a Pisces necklace. I think I've been wearing this necklace for 20 years. And I hardly ever take it off. I only take it off when I'm going somewhere and I need to dress up. But for the most part, I sleep in it. Most people say they can't sleep in their necklaces. I have been sleeping in this necklace for about 20 years. And she bought it for me for my birthday or something. I've always been intrigued by all this stuff. But I kind of felt like, well, maybe I'm just weird. I'm one of those people, so maybe I'm just weird like that, So I didn't really go deep into it. And here's something funny. My friend called me last night, one of my really good friends, and she was like, she met a guy. She's like, I had to tell you this. I met this guy, and she was talking about, I said, when is his birthday? She said, that's why I called you, because I want you to tell me, about Virgo men. It was hilarious. And I'm like, well, they're this, they're that, blah, blah, blah. And she said, that's why she called me, because she wanted me to tell her about Virgo men. And I was like, yeah, that's and I never studied astrology, but I feel like I should. But I was like, if I study that, it's going to take me away from the stuff that I should be doing over here. If I start studying all, someone told me one time, they said, Audrey, if you study religion, you will have a whole different outlook on religion, organized religion. And I said, and I was intrigued. I was like, I want to study this. But I said to my husband, if I start studying this, I know I'm going to get sucked in. And then everything else I'm supposed to do is going to fall by the wayside. But he'll tell you.
But hold on, Audrey. Hold on 2 seconds.
Okay.
Because, you just have to find the balance of it. Just because you start studying it doesn't mean that you just drop everything else you're doing. But maybe you're going to say, whether it's an hour, 3 days a week, 5 days a week, that you're going to dedicate to studying that, whether it's astrology, religions, whatever it is. But allow it to be, because if you're feeling drawn to it, there's a reason for it. And what I was saying earlier about people, not really following what they feel, what you're doing is the perfect example of that. Okay?
Okay.
So reconsider it.
Okay.
Reconsider it. Additionally, I wanted to say something about the horoscopes. There is some truth in every last single one of them. But I also want everyone to realize that they'll give like the good characteristics of the person and the bad characteristics of the person. And I'll use myself for an example. I am a Scorpio. And one of the things that Scorpios are known for, they're known for like their sexual prowess and, you know, how passionate we are about certain things. And so there are certain things that I read and I'm like, yep, that's exactly me. And then when I look at the other side of it, where Scorpios can be very jealous. We're not one that, you know, you do us wrong. Because we can be very vengeful type of people, also very unforgiving. And it's interesting because what I realized over time is that that's kind of a basis, but never look at a horoscope at the end of the story. And the reason why I say that is because along with spiritual maturity, the part of me that was unable to forgive, and years ago, that was 100. I didn't forgive anybody once you slighted me. I was like, I'm going to carry this with me until I die or you die. Whoever goes first. Hopefully it's you. But, you know, but that was really how I felt about it. And now that I understand more about forgiveness and how forgiveness hurts me, not the other person, it hurts me more than anything, and I understand what it is so easy for me, you know, to forgive. Now, are there times when it's more of a challenge? Yes. But am I always determined to do it? Absolutely. Because I understand, again, everything in this, you know, in this world is energetic. Even the solid objects, you know, the walls, the bed, the chairs, the tables, all of those things are solid beings just because the atoms are closer together. So it's all still on this energetic vibration. And so understanding that, I want to always make sure that my energy level is as high as it can possibly be. And then again, I'm always reminding myself, you know, of my past. And I can't be, you know, a wonderful, you know, spiritual being that I am if I'm always mad at everybody.
Right.
And I'm getting an attitude and I'm always offended. And so just know, again, even along with that, and as you, because I'm having, you know, I'm getting this sense that you're going to be doing a lot more in astrology than you realize, you know, keep that in mind as well, because some people will hear that and they'll go, oh, I can't deal with a person, you know, that's really jealous, or that a person that can't forgive, and then they wouldn't be a friend of mine, not realizing my story and my journey. So, you know, within that, you know, just keep all of that, you know, within context. But yeah, but there's most certainly a lot of truth. And, you know, and it's interesting because even what the pastor said to you about, oh, you know, no, you know, you don't want to pay attention to all of that. And what's very interesting about it, though, is who created the stars and the planets,
right,
and how they line up,
right?
You know, and I've also found it very interesting as well, is that, you know, when you look back and you study about, you know, the wise men of the Bible and how they always use the stars and the planets and everything else, when they talk about how the wise men found Jesus, what did they do? They followed the stars.
They followed the stars. That's right.
They followed the stars. Now, even though since then I've done some reading and some more research on different things like that, and come to find out through time, they really can't find historically where the planets and the stars were actually lined up in a way that would have led them to where Jesus was. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Do your own research.
Okay.
But still, it is still written that they were following these stars. So if that was okay then for the wise men to find Jesus, then is there really something wrong with it? Right. You know, and so again, but a lot of times what happens is people hear something and they hear someone like a pastor or someone that they really respect when it comes to their religion say something, and they say it in a way that is so, you know, convincing and condemning that they just automatically back off. You know, instead of just saying, you know what, no, I want to learn more about this. And I understand both sides of it. I really do. Because I used to be very deeply rooted in Christianity. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm licensed and I'm ordained in ministry. Now, I don't operate in that capacity.
I can tell by the way you talk.
But I do have those licenses. Go ahead.
I can tell by the way you talk. Like, I was saying to myself, she sounds like a minister. Like, I was sitting here saying it as you were talking. I'm like, she sounds like a pastor. Like, so I could tell, okay, that explains it then.
Right. And you know what's funny about that is a lot of people have said that about me. And I remember when I first started going into ministry, I was always hearing people, oh, you sound like a preacher. You said, I think you're going to go into ministry. I think you should go. And so I kind of did, part of because of their promptings, but the other part of it was I was just going along with my spiritual path. Mm-hmm. So even though my path didn't stop there, it continued to grow. And I realized that a big part of that was because I needed to be able to understand what all those people were seeing and what they were experiencing, because I wasn't raised in the church. Even though my family believed in God, we didn't go to church every Sunday and do all of that. And so I was still kind of open. And then once I got into it, my mind became very closed. Because anybody who wasn't, like me in my group and the people, in my church, I was, very much that, Bible beating person and, and that's wrong. And you know what I mean? And very out with that. And then I realized over time, it didn't feel good. Mm-hmm. It was just like, is it really my job to just sit here and condemn everybody and make everybody feel bad and point out it? Because it's like at the end of the day, everybody knows what they're doing that's wrong anyway. Wouldn't it be better if I said to you, there's more in you? Mm-hmm. I know you can do better. I see positive things. You know what I mean? What if we took that perspective? And so it was just different things that happened over the course of my life, that just led me to where I am today. And, the biggest part of it, I would say, was being willing to, again, let go of any beliefs that didn't serve me.
Wow.
And now I'm closer to God than I have ever been, more than in any church service that I've ever sat in. And believe you me, at one point in time, I was at every revival, everywhere the pastor went, I went. I was just that person. When the doors open, I was one of the first people in and one of the last people to go. That was just my life for many, many years. But I kept noticing that I wasn't necessarily feeling closer to God. Wow. And I was having a hard time, figuring out why that was. And I realized, like many people, that are in the church, it's just like you're there, you're going through the motions, you have the rituals all down pat, but you still haven't made that connection for yourself. And for many people, their pastor becomes their God. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The minute that something happens, I got to call pastor. And it's like, no, why don't you go to God? Right. But when they're not consistently being taught, you have the connect. You go to God. And how do you get to God? Inside yourself. The power is within you. Because again, we are God.
Wow.
So we always have this connection. And when people use the term disconnected from God, and the truth is we can't, it's impossible for us to be disconnected from God, but it is very possible for our mindsets to be in a place where we don't see and we don't hear and we don't feel.
Wow.
It's because of our mindset.
Right.
It's not because we're all of a sudden not spirit, or all of a sudden God just isn't talking to us, because Spirit is always speaking. Spirit never ceases to speak, but it's about us getting ourselves into the space where we can receive, where we can hear clearly. That's what needs to take place. But many times we don't do that. Why? Oh, I'm too busy. I don't have time to pray. I don't have time to meditate. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. And the very direction that we're seeking, we stop looking for it. We stop listening to it.
Wow.
And that's when we get thrown off balance. So then once we say, okay, and we have so much havoc that happens in our lives, we get tired, and then we stop, and then we go, okay, I'm going to let go for a second. And then, oh, what happens? Oh, answers. Answer to that, solution to that. And it seems like everything all of a sudden just begins to flow again, because we're no longer moving against the current. It's like trying to swim upstream instead of just flipping over and allowing your body to just flow. Because we really are supposed to flow in life. We really are supposed to enjoy our lives. Newsflash for many people who may be listening, We're not here. Our life is not supposed to be hard. I'm going to say that again. Our life is not supposed to be hard. All of this, you know, it's a struggle, and you know, you got to go through some things, and you know, that's how it happens. Hogwash. That is absolutely, positively not the truth. And the only reason why you believe it now is because that's what other people told you.
That's right.
They told you, and again, because of the conviction that they used when they said it, and the people around them agreed, and because this was your circle of influence, you believe them. And because you believe them, every time you feel like you want to progress, something happens. Why? Because you believe that it's supposed to. And whatever you believe is supposed to happen, that is what's going to happen.
Wow.
What do you believe in your heart? And this is why I tell people all the time, question all of your beliefs. Go back through all of them, you know, and they're gonna pop up, you know, and look at that. You know, people, and I even heard you say earlier, you know, this whole thing as an entrepreneur, it's been a struggle. I would say to you, go back and ask yourself, why has it been such a struggle?
Okay.
Do you believe that success is supposed to be a struggle? Or do you see it as sometimes things are going to happen and there are going to be challenges, but there's challenges coming into my life to just make me better and stronger? But it's really not that hard, because it really is just your perspective. It's really just the way that, you know, that you look at it. You know, if we go to the beach and all of a sudden I bring you, you know, a piece of bologna and some sardines, and you know, we're sitting on the beach, and you say, well, you know, what are we doing? You say, girl, we sit here on the beach having bologna and sardines. But then somebody else could come up and say, you know what? This is beautiful. We're having surf and turf with a bird's eye view of the ocean. And this is a wonderful space to be in. So, you know, it really is. It's about our perspective. Life is always about perspective.
Wow.
$500 to one person is something completely different to the next person.
Yeah, that's true.
Hand it to a homeless person on the street. Oh my goodness. It's everything in the world. Hand it to a single mother who has a car that just broke down and she needs $475 to get that car fixed, and you hand her a $500 bill. It's everything in the world. Hand it to somebody that's $1 billion. I think I may go to dinner to an expensive restaurant. It's nothing. It's nothing. The value that things have, they only have that value because that's the value that we have given them. And it's the exact same with our spiritual experiences. These things only have value because that's what we say they have. That's the value they have. That's the power that they have. You know, it's interesting, Audrey, because for years I was kind of going back and forth, not really recognizing. I kind of knew, but I was questioning it. And what I was questioning was, what's my core message? What's my real gut core signature message? And I realized that it was 2 words: our power. It's about helping women align with our power. So everything I do is about that. Yeah, whether it's in a relationship, it's about getting our power back, because many women lose themselves in their relationship. They stop showing up as their authentic selves. They start operating in fear because they don't want to lose him, even if he's treating her poorly. And one of the best things that could ever happen would be for her to lose him. And so, you know, these type of things. So when I'm talking about relationships, it's taking on that tone. Whenever I'm talking to somebody and it's more of like the intuitive side of it, it's always about, you know, reminding them and helping them with their gifts. Because when I first started off coaching back in 2010, I was coaching on purpose, and then it transformed more about yourself, and then, you know, relationships. And so it all intertwined, but it ends up coming back. And I literally just had this thought after working with a client yesterday. It's gone back a little bit, it's gravitating back towards purpose, but now it's your spiritual purpose. It's about helping people develop the courage, women primarily, to walk in their gifts and to use these gifts. Because that's where the root of your power is, and knowing who you are. Because how can you not walk through life confidently when you're operating in your gifts and you are 100% certain of who you are? Impossible. And there's not enough time. And, Audrey, we've all heard that, women can't work together. It's hard for women to work together, and there's jealousy and there's stress. And the reason for that is because most women are not walking in their power. Because when we really get in our power, and when I say power, I'm not talking about I'm a diva, I'm a boss. I'm not talking about any of that, because all that is ego. All that is tapping too much into the ego of the masculine energy, which we don't need. We are powerful in and of our own right. And when we tap into the God that is within each one of us, it connects us. It does not disconnect, it connects. But because most women are so unsure about who they are, even the ones, some of them in higher, power positions, but they still haven't really taken a hold of themselves. They can do it out there in the business world, and they can figure out a way to function in that world, but they still haven't really tapped into the core of who they are, and they're still not coming from their pure essence. But if we as women were able to get in a room and everybody is operating from their power, there's no jealousy and any strife. We're all just building each other up, and it's going to be done in a very loving way because we all know who we are and what we bring to the table. I can show up and I can be myself, and you can do the same. Go ahead.
I feel a summit coming on. Oh my God. Like I feel something, it's so crazy. I'm sitting here saying, oh my God, we're out of time. But, like everything you're saying is so spot on right now. I'm sitting here going, wow. Like, because you hear it all the time. We can't work together. We're jealous of each other. But I'm just sitting here thinking about all the women in my life who just need to be in a room where they can be empowered, where they can be fed, where they can learn how to embrace and learn how to operate from their gift. Because I found that even myself, like I feel like I'm so multi-talented, sometimes it's confusing. And so when it's confusing for me, nothing happens. And people come to me for a variety of different reasons, this and that, and I have the answer for them. And so it's hard for me to say, well, you know how you just said I was confused about my what you said, my purpose, my direction. Like people come to me for so many different things, and I normally always have the answer for them. It's hard for me to say, okay, well, I'm gonna focus on just this. That's the hardest thing in the world. And so oh my God, I feel like we need to have some kind of summit or get together or a workshop or something. I feel like something has to happen because this is some great information. And I feel like so many women, you said women working from their power. There's a woman that I know. It was so funny. She invited me to go out to dinner. Now, I thought the woman didn't like me. It was the craziest thing. And I was like, well, and she invited Georgette too. Georgette wouldn't go. Georgette's like, I'm not going. And so I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to go to this dinner because she invited me. So it was 3 of us that went to the dinner. It was supposed to be, I think, 5 or 6 of us. But only the 3 of us showed up. And we showed up to this dinner, and she's a nice person, but I just felt like she didn't like me. And I later found out why I felt like that, because she told me it was about a man that I had no interest in. Because I'm married, and he had his own motives. But anyway, that's beside the point. So we get to the dinner, and I said to her, let's go to this storytelling. It's a storytelling dinner. Let's go to the storytelling dinner. I figured this would be nice. And we get to the storytelling dinner, and it's everybody in the room is white, and they're old. They're like 75 and up. And so we're sitting in a room, and I thought, to me, that was amazing. Like, I really enjoyed being there. And they were telling stories, and she got up and she told a story. And her story was taking back my power. And she told this amazing story, and everybody in the room applauded her, and they came up to her, and it was like, congratulations for taking your power back. And that was her story. And I was like, wow, like I had no clue. And then she later told me, she later told me, some stuff that she never said she didn't like me, but she told me some things that I realized, okay, that's why she didn't like me. This is the reason why the whole time. And I'm like, why this woman don't like me? Like, I've never done anything or said anything, but I knew she didn't, because we would go to meetings and she would act so cold towards me. I'm like, okay, seriously, did I do something to her? when she told me that story, and I guess she felt that she had to bring me out to dinner so I could understand. But her whole thing was taking back her power. And I think for a lot of people, they give their power away, not just in relationships, but in life. And not in just couple relationships, but in relationships in general, family relationships. They give that power away, but I feel like they don't know how to get it back. So before we close out, is there a couple of things that people can do to get? And we were supposed to be talking about energy healing that I just did not get a chance to get to, which means we got to do part 2 because I really wanted you to talk about energy healing and chakras and all that stuff. But that's gonna be part 2. Before we go, before we close out. What are some of the things, a couple of things, you don't have to go into many because we're going to do some kind of workshop. A couple of things that women can do, not just women, people can do, because so many things going through my head right now. People can do to get that power back. Because I feel like they don't know what that step is.
And the first thing that I would say they need to do is take some time, find your own space somewhere, and begin to write down what's not working for you in your life. Once you have the list of things that are not working for you, on the other side of that, I want you to write down what you want to happen and to get very clear about each one of those situations. Because what happens is sometimes we get so caught up just in the day-to-day that we just know we want things to be different. But you can't just say, well, I want things to be different. Different how? How do you want it to be different? And once you know how, then the question becomes, how do I begin to make this happen? And I'm going to warn all of you right now, when you begin to step in your place of power, someone is going to have an issue with that. Maybe a lot of someone. Because if you're one of those people that's always giving and you say, well, you know what? I need to stop giving so much of my time to this person, so much of my money to this person. And you say, well, the solution is to just stop doing those things, and you decide to do it, know that you are going to meet it with resistance. Because we have taught people how to treat us. We teach people how to treat us. And so since they are expecting you to show up in that way in your life, yes, you're going to get some resistance. They may stop speaking to you. You may get cussed out. There are a lot of different things that happen. But being on this road to empowering yourself has to be about you. Get rid of that word, oh, that's selfish, because that's what people will tell you that are, that aren't treating you right. Well, now you're being selfish. Like that's my position. Like, how dare you take care of you? And so that would be something. And that's a challenging thing to do. So that one exercise right there could begin to shift you. And I will say this, once you take that stance and you have that conversation with that person, letting them know it's going to be different, you have to stand your ground. You have to. Because if you don't, again, they're going to resist. They're going to do everything that they can to convince you to go back to doing things the way that you've always done them. If you're really tired and if you've really had enough, you have to take a stance. And that in and of itself is going to bring more energy and more peace back into your life, because you are the only person that can give it to you. Those of you who are sitting around waiting for other people to give you a break, they're not. Because they're not thinking about a break. They don't know if you need a break. And if they do know, unfortunately, they don't care. So you have to care. You have to take care of you.
All right. Listen, this is definitely going to be part 2. We will reschedule you. We will schedule you again for part 2, because I do want to get into energy healing and chakras. But I will say this, ladies and gentlemen, this is gonna go a little bit further. I don't know what just this second, but it's gonna be something else, because I just feel like there's more here that needs to be said. I feel like I feel really good. I feel really enlightened right now. So I'm gonna. Yeah. But listen, thank you so much. Tell people how to contact you, because you have really, really, really blessed my audience today, and I'm sure that they're going to appreciate this. But how can they contact you to get more of you and more of your help?
Yes, all you have to do is go to my website. I do everything through my website. I do have social media accounts, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't have time for all of that. So I'm not there. So if you want to get in contact with me, go to my website. It's LaShawnMcCray.com. I'm going to spell that for you. LA, S as in Sam, HA, W, N as in Nancy, M as in Mary, CCRARY.com. So LaShawn McCray, I'll just run it all together, LaShawnMcCray.com. And for those of you who are interested in guided meditation, I do them every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. sharp. It's just a 30-minute meditation. It is free. You can register for it on my website. So you guys still have plenty of time to go to my website, register for today's meditation. And other than that, look through my website, any other services that I have that you may be interested in, feel free to contact me.
Well, I was supposed to take the guided meditation, right? But I thought it was recorded. So last night I was like, I'm going to take this. This is what I'm going to do before I go to bed. And then I'm looking like, I don't see it. Where is it? So I texted Georgia. It had to be about 10 o'clock. Hey, I don't see the guided meditation. Is it recorded? And she's like, I don't know. I took one. So I missed that one.
Well, you know what? And they do get recorded. But what happens is I put I'm going to have to go in and put some links in for the stuff that's already been recorded, because then those you can listen at any time. But I do them live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you don't already have the link, you wouldn't be able to go in and listen to the recording of it. So you know what? Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I need to add those to my website this weekend. Well,
maybe not now, because now you want to build now here's the business side of me. If you want to build that list, you don't make it, you keep it like that. They got to register to take the free one. So maybe you don't need to put them up there. I missed it. So I'll go back and register. Don't do.
Well, I believe the service that I use will still give me that information anyway.
Okay.
But again, I will look into that. So thank you for the tip.
Okay. You. All right. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today. You will be back again. I will be talking to you offline pretty soon, really soon, because I really do want to do some things. I need some stuff for myself though. So I'm going to be talking to you anyway. But thank you again for being here. Thank you for all of the information that you've shared with my listeners. I'm sure they're going to appreciate it as much as I have. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Listen, guys, that's all I got for you today. I know that was a little bit long, but that's okay, because she gave us some great information. I'll be back again on Monday at 10 a.m. to bring you more of the Good Morning Gwinnett show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking around. Be sure to share the show with your friends if you missed any episode of the show. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to give you an inspiration for the day. I'm going so fast because, I know I'm over time. But here's your inspiration for the day. You are meant to live beautiful dreams. We just talked about dreams. You were meant to live beautiful dreams. You were. Here's my thing. I said that being an entrepreneur has been a struggle, and it has for me. And now I have to go back and do some work on myself and see why it has been a struggle. But I've been doing it for 23 years. I can't see myself doing anything else. It is my dream. It is my passion. It is my purpose. It is my joy. Inside the pain, there has been joy. I tell this story all the time. My mom had cancer twice, breast cancer twice. Had I not been an entrepreneur, I would have been dealing with breast cancer and a job telling me I can't take off. She had to have radiation 33 days straight in a row. So that means every day for 33 days, we had to go to St. Barnabas Hospital in Livingston, New Jersey, so she can get chemo. No job was going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So even though it has been a bit of a struggle, now I have to go back and see why I feel like it's been a struggle. It has also been a huge blessing for my life. And so you are meant to have beautiful dreams. This is my dream. If you see my office, you'll see my vision boards. You'll see my daughter, my granddaughter, my husband, myself, my niece, my nephews. This is in my office. This is my beautiful dream. And now I have to start looking at it like a beautiful dream. You were meant to live a beautiful dream as well. What is that dream for you? Find out what that is. Dig deep. LaShawn gave us some great information. I'm going to bring her back because I really enjoyed our conversation today. And we're going to talk more about how to live this life you want to live. And so thank you again for listening. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you spent the last hour and 15 minutes with me, and I appreciate you so much. If you missed any episode of the show, go to goodmorninggwinnett.com and listen there. Be sure to share this episode with your family and friends. Somebody needs some enlightenment today. There's a lot going on in the world. Share this episode. This has got to be one of my best episodes yet, but I'm sure I got plenty more coming. So share this episode with someone who needs some enlightenment today. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Good Morning Gwinnett. Follow me on Facebook at Good Morning Gwinnett. Join the Good Morning Gwinnett Facebook group, and also follow me on Twitter at Good Morning Gwinnett. If you have a mobile phone, any mobile device, Android or Apple, download the app from the App Store, Good Morning Gwinnett. This is my Friday, so I'll be back again on Monday at 10 a.m. to bring you more of what's going on in and around Gwinnett County. And also every Thursday I'll have a guest. So be sure to stay tuned every Thursday. Thank you again for listening. Stay safe. I'll be back on Monday, God willing. Until next time, make it a great day. Bye, y'all.
You've been listening to Good Morning Gwinnett. Make sure to tune in Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to find out what's happening around Gwinnett. If you like this episode, subscribe now and share with your friends. To learn more about Noise Media Network, visit noisemedia.us.